I don't know what my camera's doing, but I look very cross-eyed. I think it's trying to like, figure out something. All right, anywho. Hey, it's Jay. I am back. I got my phone again because like I said in my first video, my memory is really horrible actually. And then once I get to talking, my brain, it just jumps all over the place. So a list helps keep me, I guess, on track or focused. But anywho, I have been in Phoenix officially for a month and a day, whoop whoop. So this is my update / first impressions video. Well, let me preface this by saying I have not done a whole lot of getting out and about. I'm not rubbing elbows. I don't really know the hot spots. I haven't done that yet. I have been myself together working on curating my space. Like I mentioned before, that was going, it was super, things have since turned around. I've gotten a couple of things that I like and they really work. And then I'm super excited today because I don't know if y'all can see, is it focusing? No, it's focusing on me and not my nails. But I went and got my nails done this morning. Now, nail techs are usually a little, sometimes it's taking me a while to find one, but one and done. Shout out to my new nail tech, Camille. All right, but we'll jump right in. So first on my list is the heat. Now, during the summer, I missed most of the heat. When I got here, it was still 100. It could be 104, 105 some days. So honestly, I know that people say that, but if you're not a fan of the heat, I don't think Phoenix is for you. Now, take that, I think maybe with a grain of salt because I wasn't here for the summer, but also right now it's not hot like that. Right now it's like 75 degrees. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. There's a cool breeze. It really is the perfect day outside. I was out there with my dog for I don't even know how long. We walked so far. There will probably, until I learn how to, I guess, edit the background noise out, there will periodically be noise in most of my videos because my baby lives her life on a patio, so I leave the door open. She's right there. She's out there right now. That's her. She was asleep because she's tired from that super long walk that we took. But I promise y'all, Basil, shh. Disrespectful. I promise y'all that will not be in all the time. It won't be forever. So just bear with me. It won't be forever. But back to the heat. So it's very, very nice right now. And I've been told by so many people that during the rest of the year and the summer, it's so beautiful. And I have seen that thus far. Now, I do like the heat. Granted, I wasn't here when it was 116 degrees outside, but I do like the heat. To me, something about this type of heat feels, my nail tech actually used this word earlier and it was perfect. So I've been telling people like it feels kind of like a hug or like pressure. It feels grounding. There's something for me that's just so beautiful and peaceful about the heat. So keep that in mind. I absolutely positively love the mountains. So being able to see mountains no matter where I, really pretty much no matter where I am, if I'm driving around, if I'm out walking my dog, I can see mountains. And something about the mountains for me is just so beautiful, so gorgeous, so spiritual. They remind me of two things. It's interesting because simultaneously they remind me of how big and how small I am, right? Deep and spiritual, and I won't get into that in this particular video, but the mountains, I love the mountains. And I've noticed, so Phoenix is the first place that I've moved. I just was like, I really feel like I'm being called to Phoenix, so I'm going to move to Phoenix. Anywhere else I've moved, there was a reason, right? So the first one, I moved to Tennessee for college. When I moved to Miami for a job, for TFA, starting my career. So Phoenix is the first time and the first place that I've moved to for me. And I feel so happy and so at peace here. Even when, oh, excuse me, now, granted, this is a move. I did move to the other side of the country, and I moved to the other side of the country with essentially myself, my dog, and a suitcase. So there are going to be things, right? Some days, oh my God, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. Other days, I'm here, right? But I feel so good in Phoenix. So now that brings me to the next thing. I love driving through the city. I like driving through the city with my music going, with the mountains in the distance. So it just feels beautiful. However, the driving here, they can't. Driving here reminds me of driving in Miami. They drive crazy here. A lot of last minute decisions. And also they drive extremely fast. The speed limit here in Phoenix is a suggestion. Point blank period. It is a suggestion. Now, I can drive anywhere because I was taught how to drive by professional drivers. My grandma drove the city bus in the town that I'm from, I think for 25 years. And my pop-up drove 18-wheelers cross country for something like 45 years. So I know how to drive. I can drive anywhere. Now, I'm not a speed demon. When I first started driving and in my younger years, I was a speed demon. And I learned my lesson by way of a couple of speeding tickets. So I'm not really a speeder, but it is nearly impossible to drive the speed limit here and not be like accidents or getting run off the road. They drive fast. So I've been in the HOV lane doing like multiple cars are going around me like they are crawling on hands and knees. The speed limit here is a suggestion. So if you are coming to visit Phoenix and you're driving while you're here, if you are planning to move to Phoenix, just be advised the driving here is like, they can't do it. They're not good at it. Which brings me to something that I just discovered last week. So bottled water, in my opinion, is like the biggest scams ever. So I don't generally do bottled water. For years, I have dealt with filtered water, right? So I buy either a filter for my sink or I buy the pitcher, filtered pitcher for the refrigerator. So I just, it up from the tap and I'm good to go. I've been drinking bottled water since I got here just because I hadn't gotten around to going to Target and buying the refrigerator, like filter pitcher that I like. So I finally got around to doing that last week because I was like, my water was low. Like I was on a couple bottles left. I went and I got my filter. And so the next morning I drank my last bottle of water. And so the next morning I washed the pitcher, filled it up, put it in the refrigerator. When I came home, I drank some from the pitcher and it was thick. Yes, the water was thick. It had a slightly, like very slight slimy feel to it, and it didn't really feel wet. Like I didn't feel like I had just drank some water. Now I'm a water drinker, so I don't do a whole lot of juice. I don't really do any of that. So I drink water, and I am particular about water. Like I can tell you, like tastes different. And this water, I've never had thick water. I've never had water that had like a slight slimy feel to it. It was weird. So I was on the phone with my mom, and she was like, well, did you, the first, and I was like, well, no, I always just, instructions, I rinse out the filter cartridge and then I fill it up. And she was like, no, the whole first pitcher, you got to throw that away. So throw that away like that and see if that works. So I'm like, okay, I dumped that. It did not work. So my next step was to Google it because first of all, I need to know what's going on with the water. Now, let me back up. I had already before, like when I got the pitcher or any of that, I had already checked to see if Phoenix water was safe to drink. So Phoenix tap water is absolutely safe to drink. It just don't taste, I'm just not gonna drink it. Let's say that. So anywho, so fast forward back to the original point. So I Google it, and apparently because it's so hot here in Phoenix, the pipes grow algae. And so the water is like through that algae, which explains the slightly slimy feel. It also explains, surprisingly, it's calling me, let me silence that. Call her back. Okay, I have a plant. Her name is Delora. She is looking at her over here on the floor. She is a plant that I took from my grandmother's funeral. I don't know how common it is or like familiar people are with, I guess, the tradition of plants from funerals. But I have a great aunt who has started a garden on the side of her house with plants from the funerals of all of her siblings that have passed and her parents. So I asked her during my grandma's funeral what would be the easiest plant to take care of because I didn't really have a green thumb. So I have a plant, her name is Delora, named after my grandmother's middle name. And she's been through some things. She is an absolute fighter, but she's been struggling for like the last maybe 8 months to a year or so. She is thriving. She's growing, like baby girl is like her legs back. So she's really enjoying the algae deposits in the water. I am not, and my dog also did not drink it that one day that I had to leave it for her while I left out. I did a little bit of research and they say that a carbon filter can help with that. I'm not 100% certain, But for now, I went back and I got 3 cases of bottled water. I really don't want to be, I gotta drink bottled water. So be mindful. And anything that I read before I came, and to be fair, I didn't do a whole lot of research. Like I said in my first video, Spirit told me to come here, so I came here. I was coming anyway. But I also, in some of the videos that I've seen where people talk about their experiences in Phoenix, I didn't see anybody mention the water. And so it caught me off guard. So I just want to let y'all know the water in Phoenix is thick and slimy, and it's dry. It's thick, slimy, and dry. The other thing with that is the water is hard, which means it can be like rough on your skin. So I haven't 100% figured out a new like regimen that combats that or makes up for it. I know in dry patches on my face, and so I've already tried a new cleanser, and I like the cleanser, but I'm not gonna be able to use it every day, because combined with the water, it don't do dry patches, and it gave me dry patches. I know, and this is driving me insane, and it never happens to me, but like my skin on my feet is peeling. And so for me, during the winter months, I generally moisturize with shea butter, and then during the summer months, I moisturize with coconut oil. So I ran out of shea butter, but honestly, moving here, I thought I would only really need it for my face. I only have shea butter for my face. I don't have enough for my whole body. Essentially, I have my coconut oil, and I had to go out and buy some lotion, and I have to go back to the drawing board. Now, I did see, and I do know that they make water like softeners, and I know that they have them easily accessible for homes. I'm in an apartment, so I'm gonna have to do a little research and see if they have like softener systems for the home, or at least that I can put in the shower so that my skin is not taking such a beating. So I wanna make you aware of that. And then the hard water coupled with the dry heat. So Arizona's heat is dry. I am used to humid heat in Atlanta, humid heat in Miami. The heat here is dry, and so I love it, but the dry heat in conjunction with the hard water is very hard on skin. So be prepared for that. The next thing on my list doesn't pertain to me, but I have, whenever I ask somebody, I be asking questions, but the questions I'm asking generally are, where my people at? You know, like, where's the community, where's the things, where's the places, because I intend to get out and about. But every single person that I ask, black person that I ask specifically about things to do and like how Arizona is, and I tell them I'm new here, they mention dating. And apparently dating here is awful. Now, I just want to say that if you're coming here, be prepared for that. That makes me no never mind, because I did not come to Arizona to date. It's not high on my list. I'm actually not even dating currently. So like, I made the decision to not date. So I am full-fledged enjoying my single selfish season. So dating, fact that dating here is difficult doesn't really faze me, but if you are single or looking to date or whatever the case may be, I've been told that it's not great here. I feel like it's not great everywhere or anywhere, but that's, you know, I'm giving you firsthand experience because I don't know, I'm not dating. But I just want to mention it because every single person that I talk to has mentioned it. I feel like, again, I have not stepped out and started to actually build community just yet, but it doesn't seem like the type of situation where I can just get dressed and go to a restaurant and run into the community that I'm looking for. I will say that. Now, I did ask somebody last week, and I was told to check out Black Run Club. I can't remember if it's Black AZ Run or AZ Black Run, but Arizona's Black Run Club. I haven't been to an event yet, but I did check them out and start following them. They have runs, so they do morning runs, sunset runs. I'm going to go to a sunset run at some point because I know it's going to be absolutely just gorgeous. I love the sunset in Phoenix. Oh my God. They also have hiking, and it appears, or somebody told me that they have like a wristband situation. So they've also try to like add a dating component. I'm imagining because the community here is small and rather tight knit, I guess, maybe. That might not be the what I'm looking for, but the community here is smaller than other places. So if you're coming to Phoenix, Arizona, this is not the Black Mecca. Like, I just left that. This is not that. So they have runs, they have hiking events, they have yoga events. I did see a couple of speed dating events, and then they're doing like Friendsgiving a little later in the month. So that's where I'm going to start with my community building. And so I think because the population here is smaller, there have been a couple of people, I guess, who have done things like start the Black Arizona Run Club to create a space to community build and network. So it's here, and I'll have more to say on that, like when I start actually going to events. Next thing up, I was a little nervous about the nail tech and the barber situation. I did hear from quite a few people that cutting black hair isn't really, it's a struggle. So there are a lot of people here in Arizona that don't know how to cut black hair. So that was a concern for me, because cutting black hair, yes, number one, but then number two, cutting women's hair is very different than cutting men's hair. Especially for, I don't get a men's haircut, right? Like, close to balls, but I am extremely feminine, and so I want for my haircut to look a certain way. Like, I want it to be sharp and well put together, but I also want it to be soft and feminine. And so I experienced barbers before who they can cut hair, but they cut men's hair. And so the way they cut my hair was just like, So I did find a barber, and I feel so lucky. I'm so grateful. I feel so blessed. Like, I be messing with a real one. So my barber, first take. I found a barber, went to him, he cut my hair, boom, you got a client. Same thing with my nail tech. Found my nail tech, went to her today, boom, you got a client. So I don't have to do all of that searching around. But I will say, when I was looking, well, let me start with the barber. I went to Style Seed. So I went to Style Seed, and because I was told that they don't really cut hair here and they can't cut hair here, I was fair, and I looked through the pictures. I'm always looking for somebody, I'm looking for a picture of a service that I want, right? So I'm looking for barbers who have pictures of women who, like, haircuts they've done. I only saw a few, and then it just so happened that the two that I saw that cut women's hair and I would go to, neither of them are from Phoenix. One was from Atlanta and one was from Detroit. And the way I decided between the two, I went to who was closer to me. Neither one of them is like close, because I'll get around to that. It's on my list. I skipped it. See, this is why I keep a list. I'll come back to that. But I live in an area where I'm not gonna find a lot of like services. So the barber from Atlanta was like an hour and 10 minutes away from me, and the barber from Detroit was 45. So I went to the barber from Detroit. My haircut, oh my God, I absolutely love it. So I'll be back. Same thing with my nail, well, not same thing with my nail tech. The nail culture is very different here in Phoenix. What I saw in terms of services are services that I would not get, like styles that I would not get. I ran into this in Atlanta, believe it or not. So Atlanta, that whole beauty scene is a whole different ball game. But I like for my nails to be simple and kind of like classy, I guess is a word that could be used to describe it. And a lot of the black nail techs that I was running to in Atlanta, they did a lot of like nail art, but specifically junk nails, you know, the crystals and things of that nature. I don't do that. So what I was finding was, when I would go to these nail techs who were, you know, and they did a good job with what they do, with me, it wasn't, because junk nail, the shape can be a little, you know, or not really like on point. This is just polish. So I need for my shape to be 100% on point. I need for the person's polishing skills to be on point. And what I saw here was a lot of, I don't know how to describe it. A lot of the nails that I saw and like the way that people wear their nails here is very, I'm sure there's a term for it, but it felt very like juvenile to me. There's a lot of pinks and pastels and like 3D bears and butterflies and, you know, long and square. I that's just not me. So I found a nail tech who I saw and I knew for certain that she could do the shape that I'm looking for, and I know that she could do simple because I saw it on her page. Love her, will absolutely be back. Now, back to the area thing. Phoenix is very big, and Phoenix is a metro area. So there are a lot of other cities and like right around Phoenix that like just consider all like base. But Phoenix itself is big too, and areas are very different. And I feel like that can be a typical thing, I guess, in a lot of different places, especially larger cities where you have like type of people over here, or a pocket of that culture over there. And so I would suggest, if you're looking to live like, I guess, around a certain demographic of people, or you want to be close to the culture of people that, I don't know, like the services you need or things of that nature, then I would say pay specific attention to where you are looking to move. So I live in West Phoenix, very close to line for like neighboring city. And so the area that I live in, like the Phoenix side, is Latinx, like went through. So like I'm driving home coming from Phoenix and I'm looking to stop and get something to eat. My options are Mexican. Like, not even gonna hold you. Dang, which reminds me, I should have went and got some horchata today. I might go back out and get some horchata. Now, that's not a problem for me. Tex-Mex is one of my favorite cuisines. I'm not saying it's Tex-Mex here. It's very authentic. The chips are to die for. Horchata, oh my God, I've only had horchata that I didn't like from one place, but I do feel like it's necessary to be mindful of that. So for my haircut, there's nobody in my area. For my nails, there's nobody in my area. For my pedicure, there's nobody in my area. So I don't mind driving. I've always driven a little ways. In Atlanta, when I found my nail tech, that drive was anywhere from like minutes to an hour and 30, depending on traffic. And like, I'm cool with that. But I do want you to be mindful of that if you are looking to live in a specific place. That would have been awful because my phone is already on its last leg. A couple of other things that I see people saying all of the time, and I've said to me when they find out that I'm new here, you know, asking how they like it. And there are a lot of transplants. So there are a lot of people who are not like Phoenix but have been in Phoenix for years. And two things I hear very, very often are it's expensive and it's crowded. And I want to say those two things are contingent upon where you are. Those two things are contingent upon where you're coming from, right? So I have lived like an adult, you know, for my own bills and like to pay rent and things of that nature. I've lived in Miami and I've lived in the Metro Atlanta area. Phoenix is not expensive coming from where I'm coming from. It's not out of the way. I pay now for my 1-bedroom apartment in Phoenix, and it's a nice apartment. Like, you get apartments and they're supposed to be remodeled, and you can just tell that, or you go to apartments, they're supposed to be remodeled, or you can just tell like just slap some pretty paint on a pig. This is not that situation at all. So I do really love my apartment. I love my space. I pay the same thing for this apartment now in 2024 going into 2025 that I paid for one that was not as nice as this. Like, it was remodeled, but it wasn't newer. In when did I live in Miami? 2018, 2019? Yes, for us to have gone as a nation, for us to have gone through, you know, type of inflation we've gone through and like all of the things, I feel like that's good. Say that. So I know and can tell that it was a lot more cost efficient before, but whether or not it's expensive for you is going to be contingent upon where you're coming from. And the people that I've met that have said that, or that I've seen the videos of that have said that, they are from like towns and places that are not as expensive. Like, I met a guy or like guys the other day, and they were on vacation from like rural town in Pennsylvania. So they were talking about how much higher the cost of living is here than where they're from. So yes, that, but if you're, I think, coming from like Houston, places like that, like, I think it's pretty comparable. I'm gonna say that same thing for, what's next on my list? I forgot. Oh, with the crowds. Again, I'm coming from Metro Atlanta. Before I lived in Atlanta, I lived in Miami. Phoenix is not crowded. To me, Phoenix is not crowded. I know that there's an influx of people. I think like people a day move to Phoenix. It's interesting though, because most of those people are coming from California, because I think the weather might be comparable, but the cost of living is lower. So a lot of those people, a lot of Californians are moving here. I've met a lot of people, and I know a lot of people from like move here and you know, like on this side where it's higher and like and cold. So yeah, whether or not it's crowded and whether or not it's expensive is really going to depend on where you're actually coming from. And then I think the last thing that I was going to mention, as a former educator, again, I'm a certified educator, but I am not teaching. I am nobody's teacher in anybody's classroom. I have not been inside a school. I don't know anybody that works at a school. I don't have any children that go to a school. So this is not firsthand. I'm not giving you insider information. Was told, however, by somebody that Arizona ranked really low in the nation in terms of public education. And I, you know, just, oh, okay, not a big deal to me. Again, I don't have kids, but then I met a couple who have young children, and the husband has lived in Metro Atlanta, like close to where I just moved from. He lived there years ago and he wants to move back, but his wife is hesitant and more than likely probably will not, because their kids go to A+ schools. And so she's a little worried or nervous about that. She wants to make sure her kids get the best education possible. When I heard that, I did go and look up and see where Arizona falls on the list and like rankings of public education. And I saw two, because your list can't be fair. I saw two. On one list, it was 50. On another list, it was 47. Now, I can't speak to specific districts or schools or systems or anything like that. Please absolutely positively do your research, especially if you are moving here with a family. But Arizona is not ranked very high in terms of public education. So yeah, I think those are things. I feel like overall, I absolutely positively love Arizona. I love Phoenix. The other thing I will say, I've mentioned it to a couple of people, or I've had conversations with people about it. I might have mentioned it or they mentioned it to me. There's something here that's very spiritual in a tangible way, I guess, if you are like tuned to that type of thing. And it's not religious. I'm not talking about Western Abrahamic religion, because I don't subscribe to any of that. It is spiritual, and it feels more like, I guess if I had to attribute it to something, I would attribute it to the native presence and things of that nature. But there's something very beautiful and tangible and spiritual about Phoenix, for me especially. I think it's one of those places too, I feel like, because Phoenix is absolutely positively a city. Absolutely, but it's in the desert, right? So like driving down the street, and there are cacti all over the place. There's like and rocks, not a whole lot of grass, although there is greenery here. And so I feel like something about the color of the earth here, and heat and the mountains, and being able to see actual nature as it exists, regardless of whether or not you are, in spaces where it's been mauled over and buildings have been built or not, feels very, very grounding, and all of those things. And then I guess one thing that I will say, something else that surprised me, I don't recall seeing when I was here visiting in 2021. I was here for a week in 2021. I don't recall seeing them. And I'm really like, did I see it? Like, did I not? But there are palm trees here. Like, so in places like palm trees and mountains, it's an unexpected or juxtaposition, but it's so beautiful, and I love it. Because one of the other things, and I guess it's a heat thing, or I don't know, but a lot of the buildings are low and like don't have a ton of sand, of that nature. So in a lot of places you can see clear out to the mountains. And so looking, when you're coming across or you're passing places where the palm trees are, something about the juxtaposition of the heights. They have some really big, tall palm trees here. The height and the color and the vibrancy of the palm trees against like the flatness of the earth and the muted, beautiful earth tones. Like, I don't know if y'all can tell, but I love Phoenix. So I do really feel like it might be one of those places where you're going to love it or hate it. I haven't met too many people here who don't like it, but I have met a few and they're just like, I hate it. I hate everything about it. It's awful. I can't stand it. I can't wait to go. I'm working on my escape plan right now. So I do have noticed that too. I haven't really met people that are like queen. People either love it or they hate it. And so that is, I think, my 1 month update and my first impressions. I am very excited to continue curating my space. I am excited to get out and network. I'm excited to build community. So my next update will hopefully, prayerfully, have some excursions. I'm excited for those too. There's a botanical gardens here that I pass quite often, and I just feel like a desert garden. Oh my God. And y'all, I did not know before coming in 2021, I really had no idea how big cactuses, like cacti are huge. And then there are so many different, is it species? What's the word when you're talking about plants? I don't know, but there's so many different kinds, and some of them look so alien. They're like, I'm fascinated by them. So yeah, this is my 1 month in Phoenix. I am loving it. I am feeling right at home. I'm so glad that I took the leap. I'm so glad that I threw fear or any doubts of that. And I think that can be applicable not just to Phoenix, but if you feel like you are called to a place, or there's a place that you've always wanted to live, because there's a clear difference in how you feel and how you show up when you are living in a place that you enjoy and you really love for whatever the reasons may be, versus when you're living life in a place that doesn't really feel aligned with who you are or where you want to be. I think it's a difference between struggle and ease. But yeah, so this is my first update, 1 month in Phoenix. Whoop, shout out to me, shout out to Phoenix, shout out to y'all, shout out to everybody living their dreams. I'm here for it. I'm always rooting for you, and I will see you soon with more updates, sharing more information about the journey and all of the things. So if you like this video, you want to learn more, you got questions, comments, concerns, like, comment, subscribe, chit chat with me. I am open to building an online community as well. So